calories? $1 million question, right? But it depends on a few things. It depends on your goals, what you want to do, your knowledge, what you know, your skill. What nutrition level are you at? You at level 1 just starting out, or you level 2 really trying to make a difference? If it's the second one, then you should count your calories. And then consistency. What can you do repeatedly, and what can you do well? All those go into factor if you should count your calories. But for everyone, I think you should understand a baseline of what your calories should be at, and then you can go from there. So there's different options for measuring calories. So if you're level 1, lower skill, you should take a photo of what you eat, or you should write down the general amounts in a food journal. Had 1 Chick-fil-A sandwich, or had 2 cans of soda for lunch or for dinner. I'll put a picture of a food journal that I did in one of the upcoming slides. And then if you're moderate skill, kind of level 2-ish, you can, or borderline level 2, you can use your hunger and fullness journal to indicate how hungry you were at the start of the meal and how hungry you were after. So start of the meal, starving. I was a 1. At the end of the meal, I was a 9. So if you remember from previous slides, if you're trying to lose weight, you should eat only to an 8 out of 10. You can also use your hand size portions to see how much food you're actually consuming. And then if you're higher skill, and if you really want to dial in your calories, you can use measuring cups, spoons. You can weigh everything on a food scale. And the more precise, the more advanced you are. And one thing I want to add is, if you are very, very far from your goal, let's say you're very overweight, let's say you weigh 300 pounds and you want to get to 150 pounds. In the beginning, you can be very loose with your eating and your routines and all of that. But as you progress, as you're down 100 pounds, or you got 50 more pounds to go, you got to get a little bit more strict, and you have to incorporate new habits in order to get to this point where you want to be at. So, food journal. So here I have a screenshot of a food journal that I took. I was traveling to Europe for vacation, and I was on the plane. And so here was my food journal. I had breakfast, 2 eggs over easy, hash browns, slice of toast with jelly, half a green apple, orange slices, water. For my snack, I had half of an everything bagel with cream cheese. For lunch, I had KFC chicken sandwich with potato wedges, ranch and water. Snack, I had pretzels and water. Dinner, I had turkey, gravy, stuffing, mushrooms, green beans, crackers with cheese, salad, cheesecake, 2 glasses of wine, water. Gotta get that free wine on the plane, you know? But my total water for the day was 1.5 gallons. But what I want you to see is I regularly compete in bodybuilding, but I was traveling, I was on vacation, so I didn't have my scale with me. So I used this kind of general food journal that I gave like general amounts of foods that I was eating, half of an everything bagel. I didn't weigh the bagel, but it gave me an idea, okay, this is how I'm eating on vacation. So basically all the food journal is just a tool to allow you visually see and track what you're eating. Because a lot of the times we over or underestimate what we actually eat. I saw a funny thing on Instagram. It said, client checks in and says, I only had a coffee and a bagel for breakfast. How am I gaining weight? The coffee was like the big size, I don't know, venti from Starbucks, triple chocolate, mocha latte, whatever they had. And then the bagel was 3 extra servings of cream cheese. So it was actually a lot more than they said they were eating. So as long as your food journal is relatively close, you can get an idea of, okay, this is how I'm eating, this is how I can progress. Once you have this data, you can make the adjustments. And then food journaling doesn't have to be forever, it's just temporary. So you get an idea of, okay, this is actually how I really eat, not just how I think I eat. So that's the old school way of tracking it. The new school way of tracking it is through an app. I like using MyFitnessPal. So in MyFitnessPal, you can go in and you can type in different foods. You can scan foods like barcodes. You can search foods. So in my screenshot example, that day I was craving some Chick-fil-A. So I got a sausage burrito. I'm in bulking season, right? So I had a sausage burrito from Chick-fil-A. I had a chicken breakfast burrito. I had tater tots. I had a Minute Maid orange juice. So for my breakfast, I had 1,300 calories just in breakfast alone. And overall for the day, I had 3,000 calories. And in MyFitnessPal, the cool thing about it is it breaks down how much of your day was carbs, how much of your day was fat, how much of your day was protein. So I'm gonna give you a demonstration a little bit later on in the course of how MyFitnessPal works and how you can use it to track your food and how you can use it to make adjustments once you know your macros. So how do you calculate your macros? Step one, it's a 5-step process. Step one, and I mentioned earlier in the intro, my background's in engineering, so all this math stuff is really cool to me and makes sense to me. It's not that advanced, but just be aware, you do a little bit of math. All right, step one, calculating your macros, is to calculate your overall calories. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna multiply your body weight in pounds by 10 to 14. So 10 is the number you use if you have like a sedentary lifestyle. Maybe you're not that active, maybe you work from home and you don't do much. 14 is if you're very active. You're always on the go, you're always moving around. Maybe you have a construction job where you're a lot of physical labor. So for example, we use someone like me, 200 pounds, who is very active. So 200 times 14 would be 2,800 calories per day. So this would be a goal maybe for me to burn or to consume 2,800 calories a day. Second example is maybe someone that's 300 pounds who isn't active at all. Maybe they work from home and they don't do much else out of that. So their target is to use that 10 number, the lower end of the range. So it'd be 300 times 10 equals 3,000 calories. So as you can see, 3,000 calories for the 300 pound person versus 2,800 calories for the 200 pound person. Not that much difference. And the reason is because of the activity level. If you are very active, you're gonna burn more calories. If you're not active at all, you're not gonna burn more calories. And also on top of that, if you weigh 100 pounds more than someone else, your body naturally is gonna burn more calories because imagine this, imagine walking up the steepest hill you can think of. Imagine how out of breath you are at the top of that hill. Now imagine walking up that hill again with a 100-pound weight on your chest. You'll be super exhausted at the top of the hill. So that just shows that, you know, the more weight you are, the more your body has to work, the more your organs have to work, the more energy your body has to use to produce the same amount of work. So if you're more active, you can create a bigger calorie deficit and you can consume more calories. So if you want to eat more food, you just got to get more active. So step two for calculating the deficit or surplus for calculating your macros. So from the total calories in step one, you can either add 300 to 500 calories or you can subtract 300 to 500 calories. We add if we want to be in a surplus, we want to put on weight. We subtract if we want to be in a deficit, we want to lose weight. And the 300 to 500 range is how aggressive do you want to be with it. If you want to be super aggressive, you do the 500. If you want to be kind of gradual, more sustainable, you do the 300 or maybe even less. So for the surplus example, for me, if I was at 2,800 calories, like that's my baseline, I want to be in a surplus, I'm gonna add 500 calories. So I'm gonna be super aggressive with it, I'm gonna add 500 calories. So my calories for the day is gonna be 3,300 calories per day I need to consume. My deficit would be subtract 500. So 2,800 minus 500 calories would be 2,300 calories for the day I need to consume in order to begin losing weight. So next up, you got to calculate your protein. This is step 3. So for your protein, you're going to take your body weight. So our example is 200 pounds, and you're going to multiply that by 0.08 or by 1. So for a 200-pound person, you're going to have 200 times 1, 200 grams of protein. If that person is a little bit overweight, they don't have as much muscle, you'll use the 0.8. So instead of having 200 grams of protein, they'll have 160 grams of protein. So this 0.8 to 1 just depends on how much protein your body can absorb. More muscle, you can absorb more. Less muscle, you can't absorb as much protein. So depending on your body fat percentage, you want to be lower body fat percent, more protein. So multiply by 4 to get your calories from protein. So you got your 200 grams of protein that you're intaking a day, you multiply that by 4, and that's going to be 800 calories of protein for your day. So that's going to be your macro breakdown for the day for protein. So for next up, you want to calculate your fat. So for fat, you're just going to multiply your overall calories that we got from step 2, by 0.2 or 0.3. So 2,300 calories times 0.2 will be 460 calories from fat, or 2,300 calories times 0.3 will be 690 calories from fat. So I usually like to start my clients off with a little bit higher fat. So I'll start them off with the 0.3, so 690 calories for this example. So then once you have that 690 calories, you're going to divide by 9 to get the grams of fat per day. So that comes out to 77 grams of fat per day. Step 5, you're going to calculate your carbs. So in order to calculate your carbs, you're going to add your protein calories plus your fat calories. So we had 800 calories from protein, 690 calories from fat, so 1,490 calories. So you're going to subtract that 1,490 calories from the 2,300 calories. And that gives you 810 calories from carbs. Remember I told you each gram of carb has 4 calories. So we're going to divide by 4. So that comes out to 203 grams of carbs per day. So your macros for the day will be 200 grams of protein, 77 grams of fat, and 200 grams of carbs. And that comes out to 30% fat, 35% protein, and 35% carbs for this example. Now, if you stuck with me this long, great. I know it's a lot of math, but if you hate all that math, you don't have to calculate it. That's just for my fellow nerds out there. So if you want the shortcut, you can go to bodybuilding.com and go to this link that I'm including, bodybuilding.com/macronutrients calculator. Enter your information, select your activity level. I usually like to select moderately active. And then you import your information, your age, your weight, your sex, and then it spits out how much carbs, how much protein, how much fats you need for the day. So if you do that for this male who weighs 200 pounds, like me in the example, you'll come out with 200 grams of carbs, 200 grams of protein, 45 grams of fats, which is very close to our example. And the only difference between our example and this one that the website calculated was that we're assuming that this person wants to be in a more aggressive deficit, so they're taking more calories away from fat. So the macros, this is what I want you guys to understand about calculating macros. The macros that we just calculated, they're probably not your perfect macros. Like I said, your metabolism might be different. A lot of different variables can go in there, but it is a starting point. So you're going to use these macros in MyFitnessPal, which I'll demonstrate. And if your goal is to lose weight, you want to shoot for dropping 1% body weight per week. And if you're not progressing at that rate, so for a 200-pound person dropping 2 pounds per week, if you're not progressing at that rate, that's your sign to say you're overeating, you need to reevaluate your macros. And as you progress and as you lose weight, you'll have to come back and revisit your macros to see, am I still on point? Am I still losing weight? Am I still going towards my goal? So in the next one, we're gonna talk about what's called If It Fits Your Macros, which is kind of a diet, kind of like something that people follow in order to reach their goals.